years, I thought I was fixing a broken life, patching up holes in a sinking ship. But I learned the hard way that what I really needed wasn't more repairs, it was a completely new beginning. It wasn't until I met Maya that I started to understand what it meant to truly rebuild. Solid, steady, real. In the midst of the chaos, when everything felt like it was falling apart, she became my anchor. But even as I moved forward, the past wouldn't let go. Sophie, the woman I thought I'd spend forever with, came knocking at my door, asking for something I didn't think was possible, a chance to co-parent. To start fresh, together. But even as I tried to rebuild, the past kept pulling me back, testing every ounce of strength I had left. Was I really ready for a new life, or was I just running from the one I left behind? The real test wasn't about who I was leaving behind, it was about who I was choosing to move forward with. Maya. Our future. And the family we were starting to build, from scratch. Hey, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for being here and taking the time to follow along with my story. I'm grateful for each one of you who's shared your thoughts, your support, and your encouragement. It means more than you can imagine. This journey has been anything but easy, and knowing there are people out there who can relate or who are rooting for me, makes all the difference. Now, I'm ready to dive deeper into this story, into the moments of pain, growth, and the lessons I've learned along the way. If you've ever felt lost, stuck, or just like life was throwing you curveballs, I hope this part of the story can bring some clarity, or at least remind you that you're not alone in this. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about how we rebuild, how we grow from the toughest parts of our lives, and how, no matter what, we can always start again. Stay with me, and let's see where this next chapter takes us. Welcome to Heartfelt Stories. Please like this video and subscribe. We truly appreciate all of you. Let us know where you're watching from, we love hearing from our community. Let's dive in. Have you ever woken up and felt like something was off? That nagging feeling in your chest? Like the world shifted while you were sleeping? That was the morning my life split in two. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays had always been uneventful. A filler day, wedged between the stress of Monday and the productivity of Wednesday. But this Tuesday wasn't calm. This one screamed in silence. The smell of burnt toast pulled me out of my daze. I'd left it in the toaster too long, the edges blackened and bitter. Sophie was behind me, scrolling through her phone, her expression distant. The kind of blank smile she wore when her mind was somewhere else. And for some reason, I thought back to the smile she used to have when she talked to him. Let me explain. My name is Derek Harper. I'm 37, a freelance graphic designer with a small team I can rely on. I'm the kind of guy who stays up late fixing a client's website, helps out at local charity events, and does my best to remember important dates. Even Sophie's mother's birthday. I don't have the perfect abs. My hands are always covered in ink from sketches and designs. But I've always taken care of my responsibilities. I married Sophie 9 years ago. She was, and still is, captivating. The kind of woman who made everyone stand a little straighter when she walked into a room. I used to joke that I hit the jackpot when I married her. She worked as a marketing manager for a high-end clothing brand. Smart. Ambitious. Together, we had a son, Ben. He's 9 now. Smart and a little stubborn. Looks just like his mother, but shares my dry sense of humor. We lived in a cozy house in the city. White walls. Bright windows. A small balcony I built last summer. We'd also rented a cabin by the lake every winter, just for a break from work. From the outside, we looked like one of those Pinterest-perfect families. The kind you'd scroll past with a mix of envy and irritation. But scroll long enough, and even the prettiest photos reveal cracks. Sophie and I had grown distant. Not cold. Not yet. But numb. Like two people walking side by side with just enough distance between them to forget what it felt like to hold hands. At first, I thought it was just life. You get busy. You lose the spark. You get it back. That's marriage, right? But then one night, I saw her phone light up at 2:13 a.m. Sophie was asleep next to me, her breathing steady. I leaned over and saw a name I hadn't heard in years. Ethan Price. The last time I saw that name. It was followed by words I wasn't ready for: restraining order and hospital visit. The guy was infamous. Wealthy. Manipulative. Too charming for his own good. The kind of man who believed rules didn't apply to him, and vows were just words. Ethan and Sophie were once engaged. When she was 24, and hopelessly in love. He cheated. Lied. Got caught red-handed. Or rather, red-faced. When a furious ex-fiancé chased him through a country club parking lot in nothing but his underwear. Sophie dumped him. The whole town had a laugh. And then, Ethan disappeared. Until now. What's with the burnt toast? Sophie asked that Thursday morning, pulling me back into the present. Guess I got distracted. I said, scraping the blackened toast into the sink. She kissed Ben's forehead. Poured herself a cup of coffee. And glanced at me like she wanted to say something. I waited. She didn't. I dropped Ben off at school and headed to my office. But my mind never left that name. I texted Sophie during lunch, "We need to talk tonight." Sophie, about what? Me, you know what. She didn't reply. That evening, after Ben went to bed, and the TV hummed some news report in the background, she turned to me. "Derek," she said, her voice softer than usual. "I need you to promise me you won't get mad. That's how it always starts. Not with yelling. But with a whisper wrapped in guilt." I set the remote down. "Say it." She exhaled. Ethan reached out. I raised an eyebrow. "And?" "He saw someone at a wedding," she said quietly. "Gabriella Simmons. She mentioned me. He was curious." Curious? Wanted to catch up. I repeated slowly, "Catch up." "Like friends?" She nodded. "Yes. Just talk. Reminisce. Maybe get some closure." "You're already at closure," I said. "When he humiliated you in front of half the town." Sophie's eyes flickered. "People change, Derek." "No," I said. "People reveal themselves. You just finally believe them." She looked down at her lap, her fingers twisting the hem of her blouse. "He invited me somewhere. A resort. Just a few days. His wife isn't going. She's afraid of flying." I blinked. "He invited you on a trip. Without his wife. And you're considering it?" She looked at me, her voice barely above a whisper. I said yes. There it was. The explosion, but quiet. Like a bomb in a velvet box. I stood up. "Are you telling me you're flying off to a private resort with your ex-fiancé? The same guy who cheated on you with half the town? And you expect me to be okay with it?" She looked up at me, her voice almost trembling. "It's just a vacation. Nothing will happen." "You're married," I said, my tone hardening. "To me," she added, her eyes pleading. "I haven't forgotten that." I laughed. It was bitter, sharp, a sound that surprised even me. Could have fooled me. She stood up now too, defensive. "You think I'm going to cheat on you?" I didn't answer. Because the answer was already screaming in my chest. She grabbed her purse. "I shouldn't have told you. I thought being honest mattered." "Oh, it does," I said. "Because now I know who you really are." She paused in the hallway. "You're making this bigger than it is." "No," I said, voice low. "I'm finally seeing how big it's always been." She left the room. I poured whiskey, sat on the couch, and didn't speak. The next day, we acted like nothing had happened. She packed her bags in silence. I packed my pride. That evening, I walked down the street to Maya Landon's house. She opened the door in sweats and messy hair, holding a bowl of popcorn and a confused smile. Derek? I didn't hesitate. Want to go to Paris? She blinked. Like, now? Next week? You, Ava, Ben, and me. Disneyland. My treat. Maya tilted her head. This isn't a midlife crisis thing, is it? I smiled. No. It's a survival thing. She stared at me for a moment, then stepped aside. Come in. I told her everything. Not all at once, but enough. She listened without judgment. No pity. Just presence. When I asked her again, she nodded. All right. We'll go. And just like that, I started building my escape. Maya and I didn't speak much the next day. Not because it was awkward, but because things suddenly felt easy. And that was strange. I was a man walking through the wreckage of my marriage. And yet, as I sat with Maya at her kitchen table, watching our kids, Ava and Ben, play with puzzles on the carpet, I felt lighter than I had in months. Maybe years. She was calm. Grounded. No makeup. No performance. Just real. Sophie had always needed a spotlight. Maya was the kind of woman who made a dim room feel like sunlight without saying a word. Later that night, I found Sophie's laptop open on the kitchen counter. She'd forgotten to close it before heading upstairs. The screen showed her email, and the subject line read, Mykonos itinerary. Private villa confirmed. I didn't click. I didn't need to. I already knew what I had to do. The next morning, I pulled into a gas station after dropping Ben at school. I parked, leaned back, and opened my phone. I typed Annabelle Maddox into Google. Zane's wife. The woman Sophie conveniently forgot to mention, and who, from what I could find, ran a series of elite etiquette retreats for high society families in England. It didn't take long to find a press photo of her standing beside a Rolls-Royce, smiling like she was born royalty. She wasn't. I remembered Sophie once mocking her, saying she was too proper to fight, too pretty to leave. I tapped contact. It led to a work email. Subject, urgent. Regarding Zane. Hello Annabelle. My name is Derek Harper. I believe your husband is currently preparing for a private vacation in Mykonos. I also believe he has not been entirely truthful about who will be joining him. The woman he invited, Sophie Harper, is my wife. Enclosed are screenshots of the booking confirmations, a copy of their joint itinerary, and an invitation email that was printed and left in our home. I'm not contacting you to cause pain. I'm contacting you because I believe you deserve the truth. Respectfully, Derek Harper. I attached everything. Hit send. Then sat there, heart pounding. I didn't tell Sophie what I had done. I didn't need to. The tension in our home had already shifted. She was distracted. Anxious. Every time her phone buzzed, her hand twitched like she was expecting a bomb to go off. The next morning, I handed Ben his little backpack and told him we'd be going on a special trip soon. With Ava and her mom, I added. Sophie's eyes twitched. You're taking him somewhere? Disneyland Paris, I said. A family trip. Her lips curled into something bitter. You mean a rebound retreat? I didn't bite. You've packed for yours. I'm just matching energy. She tried to laugh. You're jealous. No, I said, walking past her. I'm done. That night, I sent a second message. This time, to Zane's wife's personal number. I'd found it through a reverse search on a tagged social photo. Maybe that was crossing a line. But lines only matter when both sides honor them. Me, I hope you got my email. They fly out tomorrow. Annabelle, I received it. Thank you for your honesty. Me, I'll handle it. Short. Sharp. English steel. The next morning, Sophie left without saying goodbye. Her suitcase clicked along the hardwood floor as she walked out. Her heels echoed behind her like gunshots. I stood at the window, watching her car disappear around the corner. She didn't know it yet, but that trip would cost her everything. By the time Sophie checked into the resort, I had already contacted my lawyer and filed divorce paperwork. The fax machine at the Mykonos resort would receive 2 documents within the next 24 hours. A letter from me. Signed copies of our divorce. The letter read, "To Sophie. If you're reading this, it means you chose the beach over our son. The past over the present. A fantasy over a marriage. I warned you. You chose him. Now you can keep him. I'm done. Derek." Later that night, my phone blew up. Text after text. Missed calls. Voicemails I didn't listen to. "Sophie. Derek, please. I didn't cheat. We're in separate suites, Derek. I only came because I thought I needed clarity. I didn't touch him, Derek. Please, let me explain when I'm back." I ignored every message. That's when the twist happened. Annabelle called me. From Greece. "Derek," she said. Her voice like ice. "He didn't tell me she was your wife. I thought he was simply networking. Helping an old friend. But I'm here now. In Mykonos. You went. I wanted to see the lie with my own eyes." She paused. "They're not in separate rooms." My jaw tightened. "I'm confronting them at dinner." She continued. "You'll hear the outcome soon enough." Then she hung up. The next morning, Maya and I took Ava and Ben to the airport. The kids were giddy, carrying stuffed backpacks and wearing matching pink hoodies. Maya smiled at me while adjusting Ava's braids. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. Getting there. We landed in Paris just as the sun dipped behind the Eiffel Tower. We checked into the Disney resort. Maya and I got one large suite with 2 queen beds. The kids jumped on theirs immediately, giggling. Maya sat beside me on the couch, holding a glass of wine. "Do you still love her?" she asked. I was honest. "No. I think I just love who I thought she was." She nodded. "That kind of grief doesn't go away overnight." "I don't want it to. I just want to stop dragging me under." She leaned into me. "Then let's build something that floats." We didn't kiss that night. But something deeper passed between us. A kind of permission to heal. Back in Greece, the fallout began. Zane's wife exploded. She stormed into the restaurant Sophie and Zane were dining at. Public, loud, raw. Glass shattered. A chair toppled. Security was called. Zane tried to play it cool, but Annabelle had brought evidence. Screenshots. Printouts. The letter I sent her. His game was over. She checked out. He begged her to stay. She spat in his drink and walked out. Sophie. She was kicked out of the room an hour later. She called me 3 times that night. I turned off my phone. Maya and I walked to Zane the following day. The kids ate crepes and danced to a street violinist. For the first time, I laughed without guilt. Maya looked at me and said, "You're going to be all right." "I know," I whispered. "Because I already am." We came home from Paris on a Monday evening. The skies over the airport were gray. The kind of muted cloud cover that made everything feel quieter. I expected it to feel like a letdown after such a freeing trip. But instead, it felt like landing on solid ground after a long fall. Maya's daughter, Ava, fell asleep in the back seat, her head against Ben's shoulder. Maya glanced at me from the passenger side, her hair messy from travel, her makeup worn off. She looked perfect. I parked outside her house, just 4 blocks from mine, but it already felt like another world. "You want to come in?" she asked, voice low. I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't sure if I deserved peace yet. "I should get Ben home," I said, then added, "but I'll be back. Tomorrow." She smiled. "I'll keep the kettle warm." At home, Sophie's car wasn't in the driveway. There was a note taped to the door. Handwritten. Torn edges. I didn't stay in Mykonos. I left after Annabelle came. I slept alone that night. And the next. I've been staying at my sister's. I'm sorry. Sophie. No begging. No denial. Just the same vague regret that had poisoned our marriage for years. I didn't go inside. I just drove straight to Maya's. She opened the door before I could knock. Didn't say a word. Just stepped aside. Like she'd known this would happen. That night, I didn't sleep on her couch. The next few weeks passed like scenes in a movie. Too fast. Too clean. Sophie and I filed for formal custody. Split the house. She kept it. Buying me out with a loan from her parents. I moved in with Maya temporarily, though neither of us pretended it was temporary. Ben adapted faster than I thought he would. He loved Maya. Adored Ava. Our kids became inseparable. The kind of bond that forms quickly when two kids have seen too much too early. I try not to check Sophie's socials, but sometimes I slipped. She posted vague quotes. Photos of sunsets. One mirror selfie that got too many fire emojis from random men. But I didn't care. Not until the envelope arrived. It was a regular morning at the office. Coffee in hand. New job orders on my desk. I was feeling like a man rebuilding, one brick at a time. Then my assistant walked in with a padded envelope. Dropped off by courier. No return address. I opened it. Inside, a letter and a printed photo. The letter read, "Before you build your new happily ever after, you might want to know what Maya was doing at the holiday party last December. She's not who you think she is. Ask her about Zane." I stared at the photo. Maya. On a bar counter. Wearing a red dress. Skirt hiked up. Panties around her ankles. Holding a drink and laughing. My stomach twisted. My hands shook. I felt like I'd been punched in the throat. I left the office without telling anyone. When I walked into Maya's house that night, I didn't kiss her. Didn't even greet the kids. She knew something was wrong before I opened my mouth. I pulled the photo from my pocket. Laid it on the table between us. "What is this?" I asked. Her face didn't change. She stared at the image like it was a puzzle she hadn't seen in years. Then she laughed. "I knew this would come back someday," she said. "But I expected better Photoshop." "What do you mean?" She got up, went to a drawer, and pulled out an old leather-bound photo album. Christmas party. 2 years ago. My old company did a stupid gag competition, a drunk walk contest. Everyone wore someone else's underwear over their own clothes and had to walk a line on the dance floor. Maya opened the album. Showed me the original picture. Same pose. Same outfit. But clearly different. The panties were over leggings. The background lighting was warmer. And her watch. Different in the printed photo I'd received. "I don't know who doctored it," she said. "But I've been expecting it since I started seeing you." I swallowed hard. Why would someone go through this trouble? "Because Zane's obsessed with control," she said. "And because I'm the only woman who told him to his face that he was pathetic." I sat down, suddenly exhausted. "So he tried to poison this too?" She reached across the table and took my hand. "I'm not Sophie," she whispered. "And you're not him." Later that night, we reviewed every detail. Looked at the metadata on the photo. Even called a friend of hers who worked in IT. He confirmed the image had been altered. Blurred edges. Shadows that didn't match. Even the reflection in the mirror behind her didn't align. I didn't need further proof. But Maya went one step further. She posted the photo to her old company's Facebook group with a public message. "To the coward who tried to ruin my family. Here's the original picture. Here's the date and timestamp. Here's the fact that I didn't even own that watch back then. If you try again, I'll find you. And next time I won't be polite. The post got dozens of comments. Coworkers confirming the event. One even messaged her to say a guy named Clay, a mutual friend of Zane's, had recently asked for old party photos as a joke. We had a name. I made a call to someone else, Tony, a mechanic I'd helped out of a tough spot once. He wasn't a violent guy, but he had a way of making people reconsider bad decisions. Want to visit Clay? He asked. No, I said. Just let him know that if he sends one more photo, he'll be answering questions with a dentist, not a lawyer. Got it. The harassment stopped. But something in me had changed. This wasn't just about Sophie anymore. Or Zane. Or even revenge. It was about RA. How deep it goes. How it spreads. I realized I'd spent years patching holes in a sinking ship, when what I needed was a new vessel entirely. And that's what Maya was. Solid. Steady. Real. We started planning a life. One that wasn't about forgetting the past, but building despite it. One night, while the kids watched a movie, she leaned over and whispered, "I'm late." Late? I asked. She nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. 2 weeks. I stared at her, heart skipping. Then I smiled too. It was 3 days after Maya's whisper, "I'm late," that Sophie came knocking. Not calling. Not texting. Knocking. I opened the door to find her standing there, no makeup, soaked from the light drizzle outside, wearing a hoodie that didn't fit, and eyes that looked hollow. "I need to talk," she said. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "Ben's inside." She nodded. "I didn't come for him. I came for you." That surprised me. "Why?" She took a breath like it physically hurt. "Because I finally see it now. Everything. What I destroyed. What I ran toward. What I ran from." "You're late," I said flatly. "I know. No apology's gonna fix this, Derek. Not this time." She looked down. "Zane dumped me. The second his wife filed for divorce, he panicked. Started blaming me. Called me names I won't repeat. I didn't feel sorry. I didn't feel smug. I felt nothing. I spent years defending him," she continued. "Telling myself he was misunderstood. That maybe I hadn't given him a fair shot. But he was always poison. And I drank it anyway." "And now you're sick," I said quietly. She nodded. Then she looked up. Eyes glistening. "But you, Maya. She's everything I wasn't. I see you now." "I didn't bring you here for a lecture," I said. "So what do you want?" She hesitated. "I want to co-parent. Properly. Ben deserves both of us." That part, I agreed with. I also wanted to say something I never said enough: thank you. For what? For loving me. For staying longer than you should have. And for walking away when I didn't deserve you anymore. That landed. I nodded once. "Goodbye, Sophie." She smiled sadly. "Goodbye, Derek." And then she walked away, not just down the street, but out of my story. Zane wasn't so lucky. Annabelle's lawyers were relentless. She exposed his entire digital footprint. Affairs. Messages. A fake investment scheme he'd used to drain her father's trust fund. He lost everything. The house, the business connections, and the respect from the society circles he once ruled. Rumors swirled that he was couch surfing in Spain, trying to sell some crypto startup nobody believed in. A washed-up playboy chasing relevance in a world that had outgrown him. I didn't care. But I made one final move. I bought their old vacation villa. The one Sophie and I had once dreamed about, but could never afford. How? Annabelle reached out. "He left everything behind," she wrote. "Including the title." I'm selling it for pennies just to erase his name. I wired the funds the same day. Maya and I drove out there a week later, the kids in the back seat, singing Taylor Swift songs. The house sat on a hill, overgrown with weeds, vines strangling the patio. But to me, it was perfect. I didn't tell Maya, until we pulled into the driveway. Her mouth fell open. "This is their villa." "No," I said. "It's ours now." Life didn't get easier overnight. We still had scars. Ben had nightmares sometimes. Dreams where his parents fought in echoes he couldn't understand. Maya had moments where she'd touch her stomach and go quiet, wondering if this was too fast, too fragile. But we talked. We walked. We grew. By month 4, Maya was glowing. The tests confirmed what we'd both suspected. We were having a baby. "A boy," she whispered after the ultrasound. I squeezed her hand. "Or a girl. Either way, it's our fresh start." The kids were ecstatic. Ava drew pictures of herself, holding a baby sibling. Ben kept asking what names we'd pick. I said, "We'll choose one that means strength." One day, a letter arrived. Another envelope. This time, from a return address I recognized. Clay. Zane's friend. The one who faked Maya's photo. Inside, a handwritten note and a check. "Maya. I'm sorry. Zane told me to do it. Said it was a joke. I didn't realize how far it would go. I lost my job. My wife left. And I deserve every ounce of it. This is everything I have left. Clay." We never cashed the check. We framed it. Hung it over the fireplace at the villa. A reminder. Karma comes, but sometimes you have to guide its hand. 6 months later, Maya and I stood in front of a small crowd in the backyard. Sunset behind us. The kids tossing flower petals. My business partners. Maya's sister. A few close friends. No huge guest list. Just the ones who mattered. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant said. Maya smiled through tears. "You may kiss me, and never stop." We laughed. We kissed. The crowd clapped. But the real celebration happened that night. When the kids were asleep, and the house was quiet. We sat on the patio. Wine in hand, baby bump between us, watching the stars. "I never thought I'd find peace," I said. "You didn't find it," Maya whispered. "You build it." And in the end, that's the story. Not of betrayal. Not of revenge. But of rebuilding. From ashes. With love. With truth. With someone who chose you. And only you. Every single day. Hey everyone, Derek here. I've been on a long journey, one full of ups and downs, heartbreaks, and moments of unexpected clarity. It's been a wild ride, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that rebuilding isn't easy, but it's worth it. Along the way, I found that true strength doesn't come from avoiding the pain, it comes from facing it, learning from it, and choosing to move forward, no matter how broken we might feel at times. I know many of you might be going through your own challenges. Maybe it's a broken relationship, the weight of expectations, or just trying to figure out how to start fresh. And I want you to know, you're not alone. If there's anything my story can teach us, it's that no matter how deep the scars, we all have the power to create a new chapter. So, I'm asking you, whether you've been through something similar or have your own unique struggles, to share your thoughts. What have you learned from your past? How did you rebuild your life when everything felt like it was falling apart? I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below, give me your advice, your wisdom. Let's help each other move forward. And if you're in the middle of a tough time right now, remember this, rebuilding doesn't happen overnight, but each step forward counts. Life will throw challenges your way, but don't let it keep you from finding your peace, your love, and your happiness. We all deserve a fresh start, so let's build it, together. Stay strong, keep moving, and remember, it's never too late to rewrite your story.